Good afternoon everyone, welcome. This is going to be a short video and the focus of it is going to be on the review segment that I'm going to be starting on this channel, and I'm going to call that KeyForge Deck Deconstruction. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be basically reviewing or evaluating the decks that I currently own, and I'm going to be breaking it down into kind of different components, and then I'm going to give you an overall evaluation of the deck and how I feel about it as a whole. So I'm just going to break it down into the different sections and let you know what process this is, the reviews are going to follow, or what format they're going to take. So what I'll do initially is I'll break it down into the three houses, and I'll look at them in isolation and basically, you know, how good they are within the deck, if they've got some good cards and if they've got some bad cards. So I'm looking at them kind of in isolation one by one and giving them a rating. I'm then going to move on and I'm going to be looking at different kind of, you know, sections of the deck or different elements of the deck. So I'm going to be looking at, first of all, I'll be looking at synergy. So how well the deck synergizes, you know, with other cards, and you know if there's any there that are good pairings. I'll then be looking at the amber generation, so kind of what the deck is all about in terms of getting amber or ember, and you know how it does that. The third thing I'll be looking at will be the control that the deck has. So this would be effects like, you know, stun, purge. I would consider archives, bouncing things back to hand, you know, stealing amber, things that kind of slow your opponent down and dictate the pace of the game. These are all, to me, these would all be classed as control. And then the last category is going to be fun, and that's basically how fun the deck is to play. You know, after playing it a few times, how I feel about it. You know, a deck might be really powerful, but it might not be that fun to play. A deck might be quite weak, but it might have some really cool, fun, interesting cards. So that will be a factor as well. And finally, I'll give you an overall rating. And all the ratings for all the sections are going to be out of 6. Okay? And I know this is a bit of a funny number, because, you know, most scales you would have 5 or 10. But the reason I'm going for 6 is that I want to try and avoid having a deck, all the decks just being, you know, an average being a 3 out of 5. I want to try and make that call, you know, about the deck either being slightly under average or slightly over average. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you an idea of what I'll mean by the different ratings, and I'm just going to do this in terms of the overall evaluation of the deck at the end, okay, and what we mean by the numbers. So starting off, a number 1 would be a deck that is absolutely terrible, that is pretty much unplayable, and there's just really nothing in the deck that really works well. It doesn't really have much of an engine or a focus, and it might just be the case that other decks really, you know, anything that you throw at your opponent, most decks can just deal with. Okay, now, so far with the algorithm that generates these unique decks, I don't think there will be many candidates for a 1 rating, because I think most decks will have some sort of, you know, playability. So I doubt very much there'll be many decks that I would give a 1. But that just to give you an idea of the bottom of the scale. So the next rating would be a 2. A 2 would be a deck that's severely underwhelming. It just isn't really very good. It might have, you know, a few decent cards in it. It might be somewhat playable, but overall it's going to lose more than it's going to win. It doesn't really have a great deal of consistency or a strong engine, and that's probably, you know, just, it's quite easy for other decks to shut down, you know, just one way or another. So a 2 is not very good. You know, you wouldn't really, it wouldn't be one that you would, you know, want to play often, unless it was a fun one to play. The next one would be 3, and a 3 would be a deck that's slightly under average. So it's still it'd be playable. It'd probably have some pretty good cards in it here and there, and it might have a bit of synergy. It might have a bit of an engine for your ember. But overall, it doesn't quite, you know, meet the standard for it being, you know, one that you would rely on at an event, or one that you would expect would win, you know, more often than not. But still, I mean, these decks, a lot of these decks might be quite fun, you know, so they might have some really interesting cards, but they just don't really, they're not really, you know, just competitive enough, you know, so they, you know, they will be 3 as under average. Okay, the next rating would be a 4, and a 4 would be a deck that would be over average, you know, or what I would consider over average. So it's pretty playable, it's got some good cards, good synergies, it's probably going to have some control, it's going to have a good balance of the different cards. I probably should have said this. I think in KeyForge there's an ideal balance to have generally between creatures, action cards, artifacts, and so on. So most 4 decks you would expect to have a good balance. This is the, you know, when you start to get into territory where, you know, you're getting a bit of consistency there. So a 4 would be the kind of deck that you would quite happily bring to an event. You know, maybe not a tournament, maybe not your best deck, but you'd maybe bring it to a game night, you know, or if there was a league and you want to play something a bit different, then a 4 would be a good bet. And it's one that you would expect to win, you know, fairly often, like about half the time maybe, or, you know, just depending on who you're playing, you know, one that's you've got a good chance of you know, doing fairly well with. Okay, now number 5. Number 5, I don't think I'll probably have many that will get to 5 and 6, but a 5 would be a deck that I consider really good. So this deck is, you know, it's firing, you know, there's a good engine there, there's lots of synergy, or good synergy, you know, and it's just a really strong deck, you know, so you'd just be looking at, you know, good cards that work together, and, you know, lots of control or archives, really strong mechanics, you know, present in the deck. And to be honest, right, after, I mean, the more deck reviews I do and these constructions I do, the more this will stabilise, but I don't expect to have many 5s, because, you know, a 5 would be a deck I would consider really quite good. But it would be, you know, it will be something to aim for. Okay, so 5 is really strong, you know, that would be great. Now a 6, okay, I think there's very little chance of me getting a deck that's a 6. Even if I did get a deck that was amazing, right, I might not evaluate it as such, because again, I'm still, you know, new to the game and it's still developing. We're still in the age of discovery. But a 6 would be a top tier deck. You know, it would be one that you would definitely take to a tournament. If you wanted to do really well at, you know, a kind of local meet, you know, or, you know, a games evening or a league or whatever, then you would bring that as well. I personally would bring maybe a slightly weaker deck, because, you know, it probably might be more fun, you know. But a 6 would be a deck that's just, you know, that where all 3 houses I've got amazing cards, there's a really good synergy, the deck's consistent, so no matter what you draw in your starting hand, you're going to have something, you know, that powerful, you know, and a deck that's got a good balance, and it means that it's generally a good match for most other decks. It's got an answer for most things, okay? So this is going to be the rating system, so I'm going to break it down by the different categories. They're all going to be out of 6, and then overall I'll give you that, you know, the overall evaluation, which will tie to the, you know, the scale that I just went through there, and a description of what I mean, you know, by 1 through to 6. Okay, this is also just a wee opportunity for me to test my new microphone and lighting setup. I'm recording this kind of early afternoon. It's quite a dull day, but I'm hoping the lighting will be sufficient. You know, we've got a wee bit of natural light, and I've got some lights, as you can see, either side, just, you know, try to reflect a few things off the wall. So hopefully that'll work, and the microphone as well should make a difference. So yeah, so that's been my short video. I really just wanted to, you know, say that this is something I'm planning on doing, because I really, you know, really want to get into KeyForge. After the loss of Netrunner, I've been looking for another game to play, and I think KeyForge is going to really fit the bill, and I would like to delve a wee bit deeper into it. So, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed, please like and subscribe down below, and hopefully I will see you when I start doing some of the deck deconstructions, starting with the first deck that I ever bought. Okay, right, well, thank you for watching, and bye for now.